yeah, it's Charlotte for GamerCast.net. As usual, I've got loads of excuses that I could feed you because obviously I've not done a pickups video in a very long time. However, the way I see it is if you wait a very long time, then you get more pickups, maybe. To be fair, if I did a pickups video every week, I'd be showing you like nothing. However, over the last couple of months, I've been picked up some really awesome things. So I'm just going to go ahead and no excuses. So, one thing that I picked up very recently from a Facebook group, I say very recently, this was probably a few months ago actually. Now this is a very nice Pikachu N64. Now this is quite different to your standard Pikachu N64 because this is a Japanese Pikachu N64, which not only means it says Pikachu Nintendo 64 on the controller, but the console itself is slightly different as well. I'll get to the console in a bit, but it also came with a few games as well. So I picked up, this is probably the most battered of them all. It doesn't actually have a manual, but I was okay with this because I actually already have a copy. And this is Yoshi's Story. I love this box art for the Japanese version. It's miles better and cuter than the PAL version we have over here. Okay. Two games that I'm not super fussed on, but the boxes are really nice, and you know, you kind of, if you have an N64 collection, you must have at least a couple of these. So that's Mario Party 2 and Mario Party 3. Personally, I prefer playing the Pokemon Stadium mini-games, like Sushi Go Round, and that's the only one I can name, I think, because it's so much fun. Whereas Mario Party has never really kind of, I don't know, hit a point of fondness with myself. I don't know. But those boxes are pretty jazzy compared to the PAL ones. Another nice game to play. Obviously, these are all games that you can enjoy quite easily, not speaking Japanese. Kirby 64, super cute. And one which I really wanted, not sure why, and that's Donkey Kong 64. Unfortunately, this didn't come with an expansion pack, which means that I now actually don't have an expansion pack, so I can't actually play this on my nice new Pikachu N64. The best thing I like about this copy of Donkey Kong is the cart label is awesome. It's just yellow. So yellow. The manual is so yellow. It's colour too, it's nice. There we go. This is a bit faded, unfortunately, but it's still pretty cool. I didn't pay too much for it in general, compared to the price of the PAL Pikachu N64s, which are bloody ridiculous at the moment. Yeah. It's a slightly different shade of blue. It's more like a baby blue as opposed to the kind of navy blue of the PAL version. It also says Pikachu N64 instead of Pokemon N64, and I quite prefer that because it is Pikachu. It's not like Pokemon. It's not like the Pokemon Stadium one. There are two versions of this. There's this baby blue and there's an orange one as well, but the orange one is slightly rarer to get a hold of. Unfortunately, it didn't come with a box or anything like that, so just it as itself. On a theme of Japanese consoles, I went to a boot sale in Brighton months and months ago at the top of the Marina Village car park. Now this is the first time I think that I've gone there and there was someone with actually games, and I've been there maybe 2 or 3 times. So this was pretty cool. I actually spent a bit more than maybe I would usually on this. This was £70. It's a Japanese Dreamcast. Well, it's not a Japanese Dreamcast, it's an Asian Dreamcast, which does make a difference. But it was complete, 2 controllers, 2 VMUs, both with Godzilla characters on, and an unofficial VMU, and then a small stack of games as well. Nothing fantastic with the games, just some kind of like stellar Dreamcast titles. I'll get the worst out. Well, actually, the worst I already got rid of. It was a copy of Pen Tricillaron? Whatever. Already have a copy of that Japanese, so got rid of that and traded it against another game that I've got in my pile here. Another that I'm not actually really that fussed on is Cool Borders Burn. Catherine was always a massive Cool Borders fan. In general, she's a big snowboarding games fan. She always used to play 1080 a lot. Cool Borders I always have an affinity with because it was one of the first games that I remember playing on a PlayStation. And obviously the Wep Systems logo, which is iconic to this game if you ask me. Although I played Burn and I really hated it. One game that for me is the Dreamcast is Crazy Taxi, so that was cool to have a copy of that. Obviously already have a copy but not Japanese, and I like how it's all very yellow even on the back. Nice copy of Space Channel 5, which was interesting to play in Japanese but still always just as fun, although I got pretty stuck, can't remember what stage. Wouldn't be a Dreamcast without a copy of ChuChu Rocket. What's really cool though about the Japanese version is that you got stickers with them. Now unfortunately the guy that I got this off of had already used 2 of them, and they're very lovingly placed on the Dreamcast icons on the controllers themselves. But it's really cool, and there's still like pretty much all of the stickers still left. That was cool. Copy of Jet Set Radio. Wouldn't be a Dreamcast without it. Really nice box art as well, again. And then one which I hadn't actually played, and I think the only game here, apart from Cool Borders, which doesn't count, that we didn't already sort of own in a sense, that's Cool Cool Toon. And this obviously only came out in Japan. This is a kind of a cult rhythm action game from SNK. Very, very different to the kind of rhythm games that I'm used to, mainly because it uses a lot of the analog sticks, where I don't know, I suppose a strange mix of Guitar Man and no, there's actually nothing like it as far as I'm concerned. Actually, very kind of rubber bandy and maybe a bit like Oindan. Either way, it's an interesting rhythm action game. I found it quite difficult, but when I was playing it, I think I drunk at least a cider. So. What else have I got that's cool? So a very long time ago went to the boot sale local to my parents. There's a regular guy that goes there who sells a lot of games. His name's Paul, he's very nice. And he always has a load of Japanese games. Now I never bothered to really look through them because I figured, well, you know, it's just a load of crap, maybe 1 billion copies of Golf and that kind of sort of thing. And like, it is. But I waded through them. I think it was me and Tim at the boot sale, and we had all the time in the world because I think we were there with my sister, my older sister. Yes, and she has patience unlike my dad. So waited for him to get all of the boxes out, which takes longer than anything because the guy doesn't set up until maybe say 7:30. Which is really frustrating. So I picked up some Super Famicom games. Got the Adventures of the Rocketeer. I really like the label art on this, so I had to kind of buy it. I'm not actually sure if the game itself is any good. I've never actually seen a copy of the Rocketeer PAL, so perhaps it only came out in America. Copy of Goemon Mystical Ninja. This is the first one. The label was a bit hurt, unfortunately, but cool to have. I already own the second one on the Super Famicom. It's one of those sorts of games that you'll miss some of the humour, but the humour is like really oddly Japanese anyway, so you probably miss a lot of it anyway in the translation. A copy of Ranma Half. I'm not sure which one this is. We already actually own a copy of one of the Ranma games on the Super Famicom. I imagine that similarly it will be a fighting game, but they're quite entertaining. And then last, I'm not sure on the name of this one, but basically it's a cute fishing game. Whenever I go looking for Japanese games, I will have either Catherine or Tim very kindly Googling the serial numbers of the games. And basically, thanks to things like Game FAQs and all sorts, you can actually just put in the name. So for instance, the fishing game is SHVC AKNJ JPN, and you just put that into Google and you can find out what the game is. Unlike with the Super Famicom isn't as easy to somewhat tell as the Famicom, because some Famicom games would include pictures on the back, so you'd know, oh well, this is an RPG from looking on the back. You can't do that with the Super Famicom, so it's always good to rule out what's an RPG and what's not, or what is a pachinko game or a mahjong game and doesn't look like it, because some of them look like platformers. But they're actually pachinko games. Picked up a nice wad of Famicom games as well. I really love Famicom games. I've recently got the Famicom back here so that I can play on it. It's here with like the games here. and I got some kind of cool games. I've played them all now, apart from 2, which wouldn't run unfortunately, and I've misplaced my isopropyl rubbing alcohol, so I can't actually clean them either. So at the moment they're kind of just waiting for me to play them. This one, I can't remember what it's actually called. It's not is it Hello Kitty? It's like a Sanrio game, and this is basically a kids puzzle game. There's a few, like match 3. I want to say there was a puzzle game, a colouring in as well, was there? It was cute. A nice white cart as well. And if something has Hello Kitty on it and it's a game, you know that if a small Japanese kid can understand it, then I can understand it too. At least that's my kind of theory. One that I knew that I could probably rely on being a good game, Chuck and Pop from Taito. It was actually really bloody hard, loads harder than Bubble Bobble, which, as you can see here, well, this is Puzzle Bobble, but you know, it's the same characters. That was cute. Unfortunately, because these games do just sit in this guy's box in, I don't know, his van, and they've been shipped over from a massive box in Japan, the condition of them is pretty poor. Again, because I don't have my rubbing alcohol, I don't know where it is, I can't actually clean them, which is somewhat frustrating, especially for that Chuck and Pop, because it's black, so it shows up all the dust and all the dirt really badly. Leave that onto those. This one, which I later found out is notoriously known as one of the worst games, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's basically the Monkey King, Legend of the Monkey King. And this is a very weird kind of exploration-based thing. I spent maybe half an hour playing it with the same music on repeat, and I'd actually like to do a video on it because it was oddly hypnotic. But yeah, got that because I figured, you know what, it's a monkey game, so it should be easy for someone to understand. I was wrong. This is one, unfortunately, that I haven't managed to play yet. I think this is called something along the lines of Farmer's Rebellion. Apparently it's also supposed to be very bad. Oh well. I just liked it because I thought the box art was very weird. Well, the label art with the person with very big lips. This is one, unfortunately, that I can't enjoy. I sort of, I suppose, bought it for the label art and for the lovely green cart that it is. This is a Princess Tomato, something about the Salad Kingdom. It later turned out, after knowing that I wanted to buy it and taking it here and playing on it, it's sort of like an old school text adventure, or at least that's what I thought was happening. There was a lot of Japanese all over the screen. I will sit down and play these properly at some point, but for now, unfortunately, I can't. So these are 3 games that I got. I was very pleased with getting actually. I think that the series is Jajamaru. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I picked these up in the belief that they were Hattori-kun games. Now Hattori-kun is this super cute little ninja here that I picked up recently from Retro Station, I think it was called, that recently closed down by Birmingham. I picked that up and that was really cute and a nice game. And I saw these and I saw the bug eyes on the enemies and I thought that looks like that same ninja game, and I was really, really wrong. These are Jajamaru, and this is a series that never came out over to the West from JLCO. And these are actually really fun games. They're all very different as well. They're not just kind of reskin sort of deals. There's another one here. I'm not sure of the names of them, unfortunately. They've all got quite complex names. This was actually my favourite one. This was, actually, was that my favourite, or was that my favourite? Maybe the first one was my favourite. Good. These are all games that you can enjoy playing on the Famicom despite having a comprehension of Japanese or not. And in fact, I think a lot of them, the actual menus themselves and even the HUD was in English. So it's very strange that they didn't get, you know, brought to the West. Now this game, this was the reason I bought these games, and I mean, I still don't know what on earth it is. It might say on the back here, but I think that's just a generic warning. Because one of the things that's a big theme in with Japanese games, I should be able to show you an example somewhere. Oh, come on, where's my example? For instance, this copy of Legend of the Monkey King, someone has written on the back. It's the same way that you can pick up a game, say you pick up like a Game Boy game and it's got someone's name on the back. people, they just put their names on the back. However, this person went the extra mile and stuck a new label on the front. I've got no clue what the hell this is going on about, but I need to know what the game is. Unfortunately, this is really disgustingly dirty, and I need to clean it. So I can't actually play this until I find my Oyster Pro Pool, or give in, like Tim says, and just buy some more. But I don't want to do that. So mystery game, very excited to play at some point. Another Famicom game. This I picked up at Play Nation Games ages ago. I'm not sure if I ever showed it. I kind of need to do a video for this because it says it has Tekken 2 on it, and it does actually have Tekken 2. Just a very, 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 very bad version of it. And that's actually quite entertaining. Some random purchases off eBay. I was bored one night, and I keep TurboGrafx as a search on eBay just to see if any interesting games come up that I might want to play for it. It's the reason that I got things like Gunboat and Raiden, and these as well. Now these were from Raven Games, which is a shop in London, and they just kind of put them down super cheap just to try and get rid of them. I think they were basically £1 each or £2 each. Two of them I'm not too interested in, one of them I am. So I'm not sure what this is. This is just basically standard baseball. It's number 11 of the kind of Hudson Soft series, so it's quite an early game. I just love Hue cards as well. Any sort of media that's really small and like lightweight as well, I like it. This one, which is I think it's basically the Game of Life. However, the one that I then found out about, which I'm actually really interested in playing, is Maniac Pro Wrestling. In Japan they use the term maniac as in someone who is like a big fan, so a maniac pro wrestler, as opposed to like he's a maniac, he's not crazy. This is actually like a wrestling game based in like a role-playing setting. So that sounds really interesting. However, in trying to find a video for Maniac Pro Wrestling, I found a video for Monster Pro Wrestling, which is also a Hue card game, and now I really need a copy of it. So if you know what the game is, then you might know why, but you should search Monster Pro Wrestling PC Engine, and you should get the crazy video that I saw, which just makes me want to play it. A few more games. I said I traded in the copy of Pen Pen. I put that towards this, which is a brilliant game on the Dreamcast called Tokyo Bus Guide. This isn't a simulator, however it's more of, well, it's kind of like an, I suppose if Crazy Taxi made sure that you adhered to the rules, this would be the Crazy Taxi of the bus world. There's actually two copies, there's two versions of this. There's Tokyo Bus Guide, and then there was the special Bijin Bus Guide, which got released as like a double pack special sort of thing. I think this actually also came out on the PS2. This is a really, really fun game. The music's a little repetitive, but the gameplay itself is awesome. I think, in fact, IGN actually reviewed this. I want to say it was IGN, and they gave it a good review as well. The textures are a bit bland, but the gameplay itself is actually really fun. There's also a VMU game that you can download onto your VMU, however it's all Japanese based, so that's a bit impossible to play. But that was really cool. I've wanted a copy of this for literally, how long has it been out? Like 99. So I probably wanted a copy of this, you know, for 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. At least. When I got my first import game, which was Roomania 203 for the Dreamcast as well, it's somewhere over there. This was the other game that I wanted. However, at the time, this was about a £30 game, so I just wasn't gonna fork it because I didn't know if it was any good or not. Whereas Roomania, I had seen a video for, and I knew that I wanted it. Okay, some random pickups at the car boot sale the other day. These were 10 pence each. I will explain the reason for them in a sec. In fact, this wasn't Dog's Life. Tim wanted a copy of this, and he's wanted a copy of this for ages. I think we picked it up for 50p, so he was happy with that. It's made by Frontier, if you didn't know, the guys that made Elite. Okay, so these were all 10 pence each. Hurdy-gurdy, you can't say no for 10p. It's an interesting, fun game. Nice concept. However, these two, you're like, why have you bought 2 dancing games? So the reason that I bought 2 dancing games, and in fact, it's not even 2 dancing games, I think there's actually 3 dancing games in total, because there's another one rattling away in here. But I think the reason is I bought it for this version here, which is Dancing Stage Fusion. I'm not sure if it mentions it in the credits. I think I actually, maybe I had to look this up online. Yeah, I think I did. So basically, many years ago, like 6 years ago, me and Catherine went to an anime convention, and they had a copy of one of these dancing games, and it had a version. It had a song from Silent Hill on it. I don't think it's Your Rain. It's one of the songs from Silent Hill 3. And we were like, wow, okay, we really need to pick up this game. And obviously, as soon as we left the convention, we forgot completely about it. And every now and again, I see a PS2 dancing game, like, oh, I wonder if that's the one with Silent Hill. I'll check the manual. And the manual doesn't say, however, I think it was this one, Dancing Stage Fusion. So it was worth it for the 10 pence. And I mean, I got 3 games for 30p, so that was a bit weird. I even asked the woman, just to make sure, these games are 10p, right? And then she was like, yeah. Yeah, so they were 30p. Some more random pickups. Tim picked these up for me on Sunday morning, actually. He popped to the boot sale. I couldn't, unfortunately, I've done something to my foot, so I can't walk at the moment. These, he sent me a text. He was like, oh, this guy's got these games. He wants £1 each. And I was like, wow, Sega Classics Collection. It comes with Tanta R and Bonanza Brothers, which is a pretty interesting game that didn't come out over here. And then he had this, Dr. Dolittle, which I'm a fan of terrible games, and after looking this up online, it's like, yes, that's a terrible game. In fact, it's got the graphics of, yeah, just a terrible game. And I was like, you know what, I don't really want these games, but if you can get them both for £1.50, then can you get me those games, please? And the guy said yes, so that was good. A while ago, went to Play Nation Games. In East Croydon, a brilliant retro game shop. I always give them a shout whenever I can. I kind of rack up a bit of a credit note with them because I bring in my spares that I pick up, either from pickups or just from like upgrading my versions of games and stuff like that. Picked up a copy of Tempest 2000, which is quite nice. Can't say no to a bit of Tempest. And put that there because I don't want that to get hurt. Ignore that. Some more boot sale pickups. These were a few weeks ago. And by a few weeks I mean a few months maybe. Just some random ones. Promo copy of Nightmare Creatures. Why not? Nightmare Creatures is a quite interesting survival horror, I suppose. Yeah, it's a survival horror. Copy of Pink Panther Pinkadelic Pursuit. This is something that I wanted a while ago. Someone had a copy, but it didn't have the manual, whereas this one did have the manual, and I think the woman only wanted 50p. I figured, you know what, it might be half decent. It is Xanadu though, who aren't fantastic at making kind of action-y games. But it's a platformer and it's Pink Panther, so give it a go. Another random pickup, I think I got this from the same person actually, a 2-in-1 game. I do quite like these kind of 2 games in one. Donald Duck's Duck Quack Attack. Disney's Donald Duck Quack Attack and Winnie the Pooh Tigger's Honey Hunt. Tigger's Honey Hunt we already have, but Quack Attack I don't think we have a copy of, despite it being like on so many consoles. It's a bit like all the Donald Duck games, they would get a release on loads. And then this, which I picked up as well, I think this was the week before maybe, there was a guy who had gone over, seen this person's games, picked them all up, and asked him how much they were. They said they were, I don't know, I think it was 75 pence, a really weird amount for a game. And he kind of looked at them all and he was like, nah. He picked, I can't remember what he bought, it was something really crap, like Battle Arena Toshinden, something that's worthless. And an okay game, but I don't know, you should kind of have it already. I imagine the guy was buying them to sell them on. However, I was very pleased because they had a copy, and he put this down, of Warpath Jurassic Park. Now this is the Jurassic Park fighting game. This is quite hard to get a hold of. Unfortunately, it is the Value Series, and this is potentially the only Value Series game that me and Catherine combined own. But you know, Jurassic Park fighting game, you know. If he was a gamer, he would have bought it. You can't say no to a Jurassic Park fighting game. Well, you could if you have bad memories of Primal Rage, but you know, I quite like Primal Rage. Oh, a random pickup again from Play Nation Games. This was actually sealed, and like the gamer that I am, I went and opened it. So this is a Cookie Monster Munch. Now, these are awesome. There was a bunch of Sesame Street games that were released on the Atari 2600, none of which I actually own. Or do I own one? I think I maybe purchased one in America actually. I don't see one. The thing that's really cool about these is that they come with these overlays, and you've got a special controller for these games, and it made it easier for kids to play or something. I just looked at the back of this and I'm like, yes, I need that game. I don't know if it works without the Atari Kids controller, not sure. So that was cool, that was like $3.99 or something. For a sealed game from like, 20 years ago. Actually, it's older than that now, isn't it? That's there, okay. One more pickup, which was very greatly appreciated, but I've still not managed to play it actually. In fact, no, that's a lie. I put it in my Atari to test out a TV that I bought recently. Otherwise, I've not had the time to play this. A friend of mine, Jay Smith, showed me a video of this, and he was like, Charlotte, you need to do a weird Atari for Bobby is Going Home. Now, this is a crazy game with very repetitive music of a boy trying to make his way home. You get hurt by things like, I want to say dragonflies and all sorts. Yeah, a typical weird Atari. So Bobby's Going Home. I want to play that at some point properly. A bit like Red Sea Crossing. I loved playing that game. Okay, so then very recently we went to Revival, which is a retro games event that happens in Wolverhampton every year around October. August 6th it was this year. I kind of go, we have all the consoles that they have to play on, but it's really cool to play on all the arcade machines that they bring, as well as the pinball machines. They have various tournaments that go on throughout the weekend, and they're all like a big laugh to do and to take part in. They also have guests that appear to do talks. However, one of the main reasons I like to go is just peruse everyone's stalls. Usually the kind of stuff that's there is far too expensive that I will never buy it anyway. However, this year I was very pleasantly surprised with a couple of people that had some stalls. One of the things, Retro Collect are always at Revival, and I say always as in the 2 years that it's been running. And Retro Collect are lovely guys and always have their freebie table. I picked up ODT because this is a game actually I always wanted when I was younger, but never picked up a copy, and according to the game, my games list don't actually have a copy, so that was cool to pick up for free. And then I was forced this, a sealed copy of Anastasia. This is one of those kind of cheapy Midas games with puzzles and videos, and yeah, terrible. Apparently he'd picked up a whole box of them sealed. You could hear the game rattling around for barely anything, so he wanted other people to have them. One stall that was not there last year that was supposed to be, that I was sorely disappointed, was Attic Bug. However, they didn't have as many Atari 2600 games as I thought they would. Instead, what I actually picked up was Counter Revolution War. Now, this is an interesting looking game from Acclaim Japan. Now, it looks like a turn-based RPG, however, I'm not quite sure. I did quite like the box art though. It's like a ninja on there, and a robot, and a woman, and yeah, all your kind of, and they kind of get up in mech suits. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And that was £3. All of their Japanese PlayStation games were £3. So I thought, yeah, £3. One game I did pick up, this was slightly more expensive. I think, in fact, it was £15. And a copy of Bonk on the Super Famicom. I'm not sure which Bonk actually. I know that I own no Bonk games, so I was safe in the knowledge that I did not own it. Bit of a crazy guy. Again, it's a game that anyone can play, so generally if you're buying it over here it tends to be a little bit expensive. But I also had a card that gave me 10% off at certain stalls, so that meant that it was cheaper. However, the main purchase that I made at Revival was this. Now, I was torn. I was torn between this, a disk system, and a PC Engine. Now, me and Catherine are actually going over to Japan in the year, and I thought, well, I'm going to pick up one of these regardless. The box for this was really nice. And this was with a guy, from a guy called Lee Cunningham, who's a really lovely chap and goes over to Japan quite a bit. he picked these up recently, I think. What's really nice is it actually came with the AC adapter as well, the official one. Also comes with the manual, unfortunately, and this ripped me apart inside, but I still bought it anyway. Manual, serial number, but the serial number doesn't match, and yeah, that kind of gets me. But I kind of stomached it and got this. Comes with the nice little comic that tells you all about the disc writers that you would get in the stores. Sorry, yeah, I almost forgot. So this was from Lee Cunningham, who runs Sore Thumb Retro Gaming, and he specialises in a lot of Japanese stuff, but also sells a lot of Western games as well. Now, what was really cool about this, and mainly the reason I went for this instead, was that this had quite a few games with it, and I actually went back to him later on and picked up a couple more games as well. Now, the thing about the disc system was it was amazingly ahead of its time. Although it didn't really hit it off, mainly for piracy reasons and other reasons, you know. A Famicom game would cost you, let's say, I think it's 3,000 yen. I think they were about 3,000 yen when they were out. It might even be 6,000, I'm not sure. A disc system, you had to buy the disc system initially, but then it would slot into your Famicom. You could use batteries, so you didn't have to like go to any extra expenditure of buying the AC adapter, which you could have if you wanted. A game on the disc system, if you wanted, you could purchase, where is it? A blank disc for 500 yen. I think it was 500 yen. And then with your 500 yen, you could then get a game preloaded with it on from a disc writer. The disc writers were in all stores in Japan, and they could put on a variety of games for you. So basically you had an inexhaustible supply of games for a low price compared to the cost of a Famicom game. Now, the reason the disc system came out in the first place was because the cartridges at the time were really expensive to produce, whereas these small little discs are relatively inexpensive. Now, the thing, like when I found out about the disc writer, it's like, okay, wow, so basically if you pick up a disc system game, apart from certain ones, you know, you can tell when they're actually like the proper games. It's like they could be absolutely anything, and they don't have to be what they say they are. So it's kind of like the fun of buying a memory card at a car boot sale when you don't know what's on the memory card, and you just kind of do it for the hell of it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do a video for this because it's awesome. I have a copy of Castlevania 2, so that I think is that Simon's Quest? Is it Simon's Quest? I think it's Simon's Quest. It's Castlevania 2. Lovingly written by someone. I love how they did the font. A copy of some SD Gundam game, not quite sure. And these also have A and B sides, so they may have different games according to the A and B side. So it's another SD game. This, if it is what it says it is a copy of Twinbee. What was this one? I want to say this was a hockey game. Now I can't remember. KDS EKS. It's a Konami game. This one, oh, was this one? Well, this says Green Beret on the box, but it's most definitely not. I can't remember what it was that it was. Maybe this one was ice. Maybe this one was wrestling. But it says Green Beret. A copy of, I think this is a volleyball. And then on the other side, apparently is a copy of Super Mario Bros. 2. Now this looks like a football game. I can't remember what this one is either. This is another Konami game. Maybe one of them was like a Mahjong game, I can't remember. So this says it is a copy of Golf. However, this says it is a copy of Kid Icarus. Who knows what's on there? This, I can't remember if, oh no, this one looks like it should be the right game. I can't remember what it is either. It kind of looks like Kid Cubicle. It's a Square game. Square did a lot of games on the disk system and almost went bust, incidentally, in making all of these games for the disk system. That nugget of knowledge was thanks to Catherine. Another game that says what it is, I'm not sure if it is or not, the Monitor Puzzle Kinetic Connection. This is an IREM game. It says it is on the back as well. And then one more, oh, this is ice hockey. So this is something Buster, I can't remember what the name of it is. However, the game on the inside is actually ice hockey. Now this is like a super long video, I apologise for that. Yes, very long. However, loads and loads of pickups, equally I guess 3 pickups videos worth, which is why that timer is a bit long. Apologies if you already gave up. I'll have another couple of videos incoming. Thanks to this foot, I'm now grounded in my house. Well, not my house, I can still go to work, but I'm not like commuting all the way to Brighton anymore. So it does mean that I now have access to my PC, I have access to all my games, so that makes me a very happy person. If you did stick by, thanks for watching. Good job. Puzzle Bobble playing in the back on my MVS cart. One of the best arcade games ever, according to me. I'll catch you guys soon for another video then. Apologies for the length. See ya!